Welcome to Mechs on Deck. How's everyone doing tonight?
I'm doing good.
Doing all right. Cannot complain.
I realized I hadn't fixed something real quick, so I gotta fix it. Chewy, if you could roll through it real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got Janglad. Don't really know exactly how to say it, so I'm going to say Janglad. But he's going to be our first on Twitch European guest. We have had Jay before. But yeah, welcome to the stream, man.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So we will I'll roll through the sponsors real quick. First up, we got switchmod.net. You can go to switchmod.net/mexondeck. Grab yourself a tub of lube, 4% off with that discount code. He's got lube springs. He's been running more and more keycap sets recently, so excited to see that. Little keister keycaps for that switch tester you should be buying. And all that good stuff. So yeah, check him out, switchmod.net. And next up, Zap. Sorry, it goes Zap. We'll leave the other one for last since it's specific. But Zap, you can get an awesome Zap cable like this one right here. He makes some of the best cables in the business. So if you want to go and grab yourself a DIY kit and follow along with our video on YouTube, you can build your own, or you can get one from him. He does runs where he'll open it up for custom orders. So yeah, just make sure to go check him out at Zap Cables.
And then last but not least, we have, oh my gosh, Dixie Mech. Having a little brain fart here. You can go to mexondeck.dixiemech.com, a pretty heavy collaborator with our guest tonight. Do lots of work together. You can head on over to mexondeck.dixiemech.com. You can get yourself some GMK Dracula. He's going to be having, I think it's GMK Terra next month as well, so you can get hype for that if you've already gotten in on Dracula. But be sure to bookmark our code. It helps us out a little bit. Helps us keep everything up and running. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, if those who don't know Janglad, he is the mastermind behind probably some of your sought-after key sets, especially a new one. He helped in a lot of different ways along with keycaps in how they are actually printed and how they look physically with the new mods as well. So the 9009 Modern Dolch, and now our newest Modern Dolch. I'm going to emphasize Dolch Light. Light coming out with the it was actually pretty cool. I was streaming a build and you hopped in chat for a few minutes. You're like, hey, it's about to go live. I was like, all right, sweet. So but yeah, so awesome. Glad you're here, and welcome.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me. I mean, yeah, Modern Dolch Light. Like I said before, the thread definitely took off.
It did.
That's for sure.
It's been an interesting thread. It's kind of funny to see some people kind of take things maybe a little bit too literally.
Yeah.
People get a little bit upset. It's been fun.
Yeah.
It's been fun getting your popcorn ready, reading the Geek Hack thread.
We never expected like people to get so into the naming, and we realized it wasn't a perfect name. Hence why like I made the naming tab in the thread, just saying like we know it's not a Dolce set, but still, I mean I get it, but on the other hand, it gets a bit repetitive if like every comment is saying this is not Dolce. I know.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting.
Oof.
Ooh.
Japanese horror writer with the cheer, which means outcomes. Oh wow, so quiet. 1,000 bits. Thank you, Japanese horror writer. Definitely appreciate that. Very much so. But yeah, so what we do, if you haven't, I know that, which by the way, guys, big shout out to Janglad as well for staying up. He is
Yes.
not in USA, therefore, or North America for that matter. So it's quite early in the morning for him. So definitely appreciate that. But if you have not caught one of our streams before, which I don't expect you to ever really catch our stream in Europe, we usually start out with the fast four, which is 4 questions of top fours. Before we get into the first one, Frisco Melt, thank you very much with the Twitch Prime sub for 2 months. Number 1 of our fast four is your top 4 favorite switches.
I mean, favorite right now is probably Retool Blacks. I feel like I would really like inks, but I haven't tried them yet. I quite like Sandas, so I guess that would be number 3 for like a tactile. And I guess to make it complete, I like the feel of box navies. I don't like the fact that they destroyed my key set. But yeah, but for a clicky, I like him. But I mostly, although I only use linears at the moment, all my boards have linear switches.
Nice. Very nice.
Absolutely. The next one will be your top 4 keycap sets. And this is going to kind of, I guess, limit you a little bit to ones that you haven't designed.
I mean, technically, I didn't design 9009, so
That's fair.
That's fair.
Totally fair.
I can pick that.
You heard it here. He copied 9009.
From some guy working at Sherry in the 80s. I quite like EBBT Slate. What else? 8008 is like one of the very few like colorful sets that I like. And probably Terminal, because it's the set I used most.
Interesting.
I like it. I like it. Top 4 favorite boards.
I probably would need to pick, like, at the moment, my Kira TKL as like number 1, because it's the one I used most with Terminal. It's quite heavy, but with Terminal, it's like a prototype of it. It's quite nice. I really like the. Can I pick ones that I don't have or like aren't even made yet?
You can pick whatever you want.
The 7V by Gok looks amazing, I think. Of course, the Bauer as well. I'm really excited for that. And just to be a bit standard, a Jane V2 CE. I'm super lucky to have gotten into that group buy, so I'm looking forward to that.
Nice.
Absolutely. And then the last one, which is a little bit departure, and I'm interested to hear from someone who's not in America, your top 4 favorite foods. I want to see how this differs to our other guests.
Yeah, that's so hard to say. To pick like a favorite, I don't know. I'm typically not too picky when it comes to like foods. I guess to keep it Belgian, like I even translate it. I guess mussels with fries is a very typical Belgian dish. Same for like stoofvlees, which is like a type of stew. What else can I pick? Like a good pasta with pesto is always very nice as well. And last one. I think salads are actually really underrated. Everyone always hates on them because they're like healthy, but I think a good salad can be really nice. Like in the summer.
Absolutely. One of my favorite restaurants is a place out here called Cowboy Chicken, and my favorite dish from them is a salad. So I feel
Really?
you. Salads are where it's at.
Yeah.
It's I always like to say it's a judge of a good restaurant. If they can have a good Caesar salad too, then that's how you know they're a good restaurant.
Absolutely. So, real quick, just want to shout out those of you guys joining us in chat before we move on to the meat and potatoes of this. Which, by the way, for those who don't know, French fries are originally from Belgium. So,
Yes.
is that like a big issue? Is that like a hot button? Like, if people call them French fries, do you correct them a lot? Because I would if I was Belgian.
I do as like a meme,
Yeah,
but like hating French people
yeah.
is like kind of a meme here as well. It's like rivalry, just saying like, yeah, they copied everything, whatever. Which
So,
actually,
but
although I technically picked it, mussels with fries. Yeah,
But you distinguished the fries, not you didn't say
you didn't say
mussels with
French
French
fries.
fries.
Belgian
You said
fries.
fries.
yeah. That combination of words is never coming out of my mouth.
Unless the French stole fries.
Yeah.
So, but
I mean,
Metallic Charles, Jorda Wag, Drifting Bunnies, Jacob TN, Geo M, not Geo, Frisco Melt, Shoda, Talisman Solutions. I was about to say Janglad. He's in chat. Japanese Horror
Yes.
Writer, Racing Giraffe. Who else? Al Hex is here. Shoda, Diggy, the best pleb, CF Canner, always. I think that's everyone. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us. We definitely appreciate it. So, moving on, we'll get to what people are most excited about. But we're gonna start with 9009 because it just
Yeah.
ran round 3.
It did. Yep. It sold insanely well, so thank you everyone for that who bought it. And yeah, I mean, you know how I talked about the box navies before breaking my 9009? So that was kind of like I got a lot of requests to rerun it, but I didn't have like that personal motivation for it, because I had my set. And then my set broke, so I was just like, okay, let's run it again.
So that's really the reasoning is you just wanted another copy and you're just like, hey,
I mean,
might as well.
it would have happened if my set didn't break regardless, but it definitely like sped it up a bit.
So everyone who got 9009
Yeah,
last month,
shout out to
thank
Kale.
Box Navies.
Yeah. But
So,
okay.
but yeah, so with that being, this is kind of one of the first sets we've talked about where it's like, it's not really as much a design as much as you're kind of, I guess we talked about hand or bite a few
Mhm.
times, but it's not really a set that you go into it designing it thinking, oh, okay, I'm gonna be creative. Like a lot of the creativity is taken out of that. So why do you think, like, with it being such an iconic set, and now it's finished its third run,
Mhm.
did you kind of think that would get that many reruns off of something that's relatively simple in nature?
Yeah, I was kind of worried about it because we did so many kits, and it's like the first time I think with like a community vendor, at least with Dixie, that a GMK group buy is split into so many kits. And my thinking was the same thing, right? So round 2 for its time sold super well, and I was worried that there wasn't that much of a market for round 3 anymore. But apparently there was, so that turned out all right. And I guess you're right when you say like it's very much a timeless set. I feel like if the hobby is still around in like 20 years, people will still want to buy it.
And so we've seen with a lot of your sets, even even though 9009 is not necessarily a your set,
Hmm.
not your creation, but with a lot of your other ones, they're fairly simple in
Yes.
design. Do you think that are you big on that simplicity is better than the flashy?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like when I showed off my Kira, I don't even use accent keys on pretty much any boards. And my GMK collection is quite literally like a monochrome slider from minimal up to black. So I have I think like 15 GMK sets and only 2 of them are really colored. So yeah, my tastes are definitely very calm, very minimal in that regard.
Yeah, do
Which
you think?
yeah.
Or sorry,
No,
sorry.
yeah,
Continue.
which can come off like you can definitely say that a lot of the sets I worked on are like uninspired because they're pretty much all gray. Like I could have rendered them with a black and white filter on them, and then for half of them you couldn't even notice, right? But yeah, that's just my style in that way, and I find it you can't really force something. Like I can't say I want to make something colorful now and get it to turn out good. So I feel like you really need to like the product before you can sell it or whatever.
Absolutely. Um, Getting to round 3 though, did you ever see that as a possibility even after round 1 or even after
Well,
round 2?
I
Despite
didn't
obviously, I
do
know we talked
round
about
one.
the what?
I didn't do round one of
Oh,
9009.
my
Yeah,
apologies.
but yeah, I I don't think I ever really thought about it. At least not at the time of running round two. Definitely not then. But like I said, just a lot of people asked it, and also shout out to Otani. He threatened to not feed his squirrels if I didn't make GMK 909 round 3. So thanks to his squirrels and box navies, you got the key set.
I saw him in the modern Dolch doing some heavy defending. So,
Yeah.
but no. So obviously there was a big change for 9009 and
Mhm.
GMK as a whole,
Yep.
with the work that you and Dixie put in making the centering up all the mod keys and making sure everything was centered. How did that come
Mhm.
about? Like how did that process kind of get started?
I'm trying to find an image. When I got my modern Dolch, I put it on my M60. And so M60, of course, has like a split right shift, right? So you got the shift key and then the FN key. And that was the first time I really noticed, like, hey, this shift is top, left, or right aligned, and the FN key is centered. And it just really bothered me. And that's just when I wanted to look into centering out mods. So when we did 9009, I guess in retrospect, or well, we expected it to be more controversial with that set than say Modern Dolch Light, because 9009 is such like a classic set, which I understand for people that wanted the complete OG modifiers for that. But so I just hit up Dixie and we started working on it, on centering it out, and I think it personally looks a lot better, especially on 60% with that split up right side.
Nice. So why'd you have to kill the purse?
Because except for for the box backspace, it's the worst looking GMK key that there is by
Ooh,
far.
fighting
Yes,
words.
yes,
Even the box backspace.
I agree. I don't like
yeah.
purse.
I love purse. Purse is better than box backspace in every single way
It's also
possible.
so different from all the other icons. Because like the shift keys are kind of square, and the rest is just arrows. But then the purse is like very rounded off and everything. I don't know. It looks out of place to me, at least.
So I guess more so moving away from 9009 and into basically you and your history. How did you really get into keycap design?
Well, the first interest check I did was for a DSA set called DSA Frost, um, which I kind of relaunched a while ago, but it never really took off. But that was, I don't know, yeah, November 28th. No, that's the new one. I don't know. I think 2016, 2017. And I just wanted to make a key set for myself. I don't know. I always liked making stuff in hobbies. Like the way I got into this hobby was I was very into Arduino projects and Raspberry Pi stuff. And there was this guy that was making a custom laptop basically. And he was building a custom mechanical keyboard for it. So I figured, hey, maybe I can make one too. So I just got into the hobby that way. And I think Massdrop actually had like a design competition at the time. I'm not very sure, but yeah. And I never really had plans to do anything else after that until I saw on Mac Market that 9009 was selling for $400 at the time. And I just figured I really want this set. I can't afford it, and I know there are a lot of more people that also can't afford it. So let's just run it. And by some coincidence, I was in a Slack with Dixie Mac, so that's how that all started.
There you go. Right place at the right time.
Yeah.
So, kind of moving into the next keycap set that you did, which was Modern Dolch. So, for those who don't know, Modern Dolch ran early fall of last year.
Yep.
And it was a fresh take on the Dolch colorway. So, in looking, I guess, kind of walk us through. I guess one day you looked at Dolch and said, "I can make this better."
Yeah, I had the idea for quite a while. Because Dolch is such like a classic set, but for some reason it never really spoke to me because the alphas are like so warm.
Mhm.
And like I said, I had the idea for quite a while, and then just one day I figured, hey, maybe I should try and do a render. And I posted it in some discords, just trying to see what people thought of it, and they liked it. So I started working on the interest check for it, and that went really well too. So yeah.
So, being as someone who doesn't like color, do you use when you use Modern Dolch? Do you not use any of the accent keys for that as well?
I used to, but now I just have a red Rama escape on the escape key.
Ah,
But yeah, I do typically for 9009. I definitely use accents, and for Modern Dolce, I typically do that as well.
It's nice. And that's one thing with a lot of the sets. The sets that you've designed they really make the accents stand out. It makes those
Mm-hmm.
very special.
Yep.
I know we heard a little bit about this from Dixie when we had him on, but what was it like doing the color matching process for those accents for Modern Dolch?
So the alpha and mod keys were pretty easy. We didn't do any reworking on those. The cyan was just slightly off in the first round, but that worked out all right. But the red was kind of annoying. I accidentally picked a Pantone that was a metallic ship, and because I picked it inside of like a plugin for software that just listed all the Pantones, and I didn't look at it, which was in retrospect very dumb. But we soon realized that mistake. So, and GMK also said that the matching for that will be really hard. So basically, we had to try and find another Pantone or RAL that was close to what we wanted. And it definitely was annoying in the end, like me having to send Pantone chips to GMK and them send them back to me, and then me send them back to them again. And in the end, I think it worked out quite well, the color matching. So it
mm,
was worth it because it
yeah.
definitely delayed the set a bit, I think. I don't recall how much exactly.
I mean, I could tell you just because that was a set that I was super pumped for. It was about 4 months, but I mean, still, that was a set absolutely worth waiting for. It is
I'm glad that you like it.
probably my second favorite set
Your
because
first
it
is
was,
camping, right?
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Literally have it on first, third board. I think it's been on now, but the OSA
Yep.
Blind Assassin shout out.
Nice.
But um, no, it's one of those sets that like the dark alphas look so clean. Like it just the whole set looks so nice and neat, and it doesn't look busy. Like
Yeah.
there's some sets that have a lot of color, and that's awesome, but can start to look a little busy. And then kind of what Osiris was saying was those accents pop so much, and especially when you get the space bar on there, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
whew, I typically only use the blue. I'm not the biggest fan. I say this with camping in front of me, but I don't really like bright reds that much. So, but I mean, I have yet to see a board that has Modern Dolce on it that looks bad.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, one of the nice things about the simpler colorways like 9009 and Modern Dolce or whatever, you need to really look out for something to find a board that doesn't fit with it. Because, like, worst case scenario, if your board has a very flashy color, you can just use the set without the accents.
Yep.
And it'll always look good. At least. I'm a bit biased, but I think it will always look good.
Yeah, no, I'd be if you without the accent, and even with the accent, some combinations look awesome.
Hmm.
So it's just like well done on that. That's one of the best sets I think. I mean, there's a reason it got, was it number 2 or number top 4 of the little
Yes.
2? Yeah. So I mean,
If someone out there has like a Chain V2 with Modern Dolce, you officially have the second best board of 2018.
there's a TGR Alice with a Olivia.
Olivia, yeah.
So but yeah, and then I guess this is something that I'm curious to know. You do not have to answer this, but have you thought about maybe experimenting with accent kit for Modern Dolce?
Like running it separately?
Yeah, like running an accent kit separately that now could maybe go with Modern Dolce Light as well as Modern Dolce.
I'm personally not too big of a fan of that. Because like one thing is at that point if I'm going to do a new run involving like the original Modern Dolce, I want to just rerun the complete thing. Because if you now rerun accents like specifically for it, although I guess you could use it with other sets, but still there are so many people out there now that want to buy Modern Dolce and just can't.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Speaking of accents, I do really like Modern Dolce with Mr. Sleeves as well.
I have not personally tried that. I can, and I should. I'm building a board that Modern Dolce will be going on for about 4 months until another board comes on or shows up. But and then Modern Dolce will go on that board. But I do need to try it because it'll go on my Fiel, which I know Fiel
Nice.
Modern Fiel Modern Dolce, name a more
Pandas?
iconic duo. But
Holy Pandas in it? No.
no. So quick side note: there's part holy.
It's kind of.
It's a very interesting switch. It's a Zelio V2 bottom,
Huh.
a Yacht top, and a Halo stem with a Zelio 78
Interesting.
gram spring, and it's an amazing switch.
Do the Panda housings or the Panda tops sound better? Or is it just like more stable?
I think he
Yes.
lagged out for a second. You good?
He's back.
Am I there?
He's back.
He's
Am I here?
back.
All right, sorry. I tried a Xanda,
Mhm.
and then I was like, okay, well, I've got a Halo stem and a Zelio housing. Why not just throw it on, see what happens? And I really liked the feel, but the sound wasn't quite there. So I
Yeah.
was like, okay, well, let's see how it is on the Yacht top, just to see if that might help the sound. And then that's what did the sound. And it's
I should try that. I really should give tactile switches another shot. But it's just so easy to just go linear because I know I like it. So
I thought I was just thank you, thanks, Dixie. I'm excited to go back.
And just watch the
just someone clip it real quick and see just but yeah, that's I plan on putting it on that because it's clean, and I want to try it with Mr. Sleeves to see how it looks, because and I like that more and more of these accent kits as more people are using icon mods for their enter.
yep.
I like the accent kits add a lot of, like, you can even mix Mr. Sleeves with Dolce, and have like weird blues all over the place or all that. So you can, it's cool having stuff like that. So that's why I was just curious, with these new Moto colors, now we're going to have even more things to mix and match with. So
for sure.
Sorry, modal.
Yes. Emphasis on the dough.
Doll.
Dope. So another set that you did, I know it's very minimal, aka GMK minimal. But what made
Yes.
you want to make that? Because it was really kind of in a time where we were having very colorful sets out
hmm
at the time.
Well, it actually wasn't my idea. So the idea came by Ryan, or like Quadepo. I don't even know how to pronounce his username, but people always forget about him. So when someone posts an image of like their minimal on Instagram, they always tag him and not me, and it has become like an internal joke. But either way, he was like pretty much same thing what I had with 9009 is he wanted black and white, and you just couldn't really buy a good version at the time. I think maybe Pristine was in stock, but Pristine is like very beige. So I was just like, okay, let's run it. And yeah, things got moving. I hit up Dixie, and these days, I mean, we can pretty much start a group buy with like 5 lines in Discord because everyone knows what needs to happen.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, and I'm actually typing on minimal right now, and I think
Really?
it's a great set. Obviously, it is the set that fits with literally everything.
Yep.
But the thing too that it kind of spawned, and I want to get your opinion on this, is like um the white and black icon mods add-on kit.
hmm
What is your opinion of those? Like people saying, "Hey, got minimal, let's throw this on here."
I mean, I personally, or we personally, since it was a group project, didn't really think that icon mods were the best fit for minimal, but I'm totally cool with other people like running their own kits or whatever, because if someone likes icon mods more, they now have that option, so that's good for them. I really don't mind it at all.
Nice.
Yeah. And that's also, that's one of those things where it's like almost the definition of like it's not copying colors, it's literally black and
Yes,
white.
it's literally black and white. Yes.
It's a black color on a white color on a
Yeah.
white color. Like you can't get more basic as that. So but yeah, I didn't even think about asking. That's good question, Osiris.
I mean,
Oh
I've got more.
boy.
We could talk about
We can talk about minimal all day long because I'm excited about I'm excited to get this accent kit because I actually just sold muted.
Mhm.
Um,
Wait,
like
did you sell it after the stream?
oh yeah,
He literally
I,
Oh
did.
wow.
He wasn't
I
kidding
sold
when
it.
he was
I
like, "All right,
sold
I'm
it
selling."
yesterday. I was like, well, because I was
Nice.
like, I know that there's like I hear chatter.
Mhm.
If you listen closely enough, if you pay attention, you'll see little notes of someone maybe saying something or leaving something. I was like, I'm sure mute's going to come out eventually. And then when I saw that, I was like, cool, now I have an excuse to sell muted. So I sold, and then because I've got these accent kits coming in for a board that's probably not going to be here for another year, and that's what's going to go with Mr. Sleeves is minimal with the accent kit and Mr. Sleeves. I was like, that's going to be such a cool looking board. I like muted right now, and then when I saw that, I was like, okay, cool. So now I can sell muted, and then I'll just wait however long I need to for Modern Dolce Light.
Yeah.
I'll just call it Dolce Light for short. And 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 I also really like I don't mind the purple. I really did like on muted, but I wasn't ever the biggest fan of the blue. And I really like green's my favorite color, so that kind of
Mm.
teal green. I was like, boom, sold, done. Sign me up for that and some space bars.
Yeah, my board for minimal still needs to arrive. It's like a prototype that I've been waiting on for well over a year at this point, I think. But the board is just cursed because the first factory was Elf, and we all know what happened with that. And then the second one just isn't really delivering. So sadly, I haven't really used my set yet.
Mm. Oh, I haven't even mounted my set, man. I know the feeling.
Oh.
I took it out of the box because I hate the GMK trays.
Mm.
But which if you're at the Dallas meetup, I'll be bringing another tray to just give away to the first person that sees it. But yeah, I mean, it's such a clean set. And then how was, I guess the next question on that, with Stormtrooper already being a thing, I know that there was some. Did you ever talk to the guy that did Stormtrooper, or
I did
because
not. But Stormtrooper, I mean, it's a very tiny difference, but Stormtrooper is CP, right? And Minimal is WS1. And also it's different type of mods, of course, but I think the main thing was just it just wasn't really available. You couldn't really get it. Because it was a group buy. Wasn't it one of the earlier group buys that happened? I'm not very sure. But yeah, you couldn't really get it. And I felt like at that point, I think Massdrop was already selling the white on black. So that's like a classic thing that goes with anything that was readily available, but we didn't have that for like the inverse. So
I think it was needed because personally, I am not a big fan of white on black. Like I love the way the set looks, but for me, like I wouldn't purchase it. But I love the way minimal looks. I definitely understand. And then yeah, Stormtrooper ran in like mid 2016.
yeah,
So it had been quite a while. Obviously, with the mods being a little small difference, but color. So one thing, actually was thinking about it. I was looking at your website earlier today, and I was like, man, Chewy over here has been a huge supporter of Janglad because I think the only thing that you've run that he hasn't purchased is 9009.
Yep.
really.
And technically, I have
Yeah.
9009 Axit kits.
Yes.
It came with muted, so
They're not exactly the same color, but yeah,
yeah, it's
3A and 3C instead of 3B, I think.
yeah. So yeah, and honestly, the only reason I didn't like 9009 is kind of the reason I don't like original Dolch versus modern Dolch is it's a warmer color, and I like cooler colors, and so that's why I was all about modern Dolches. I was like, cool, it'll be a nice cool color. And
Yeah,
then
Dixie said something, by the way, that I forgot to bring up. We indeed launched it within like 2 weeks of interest check, Modern Dolls. So that thing went from like first vendor to start of group buy in under a month, I think, which was a fun experience, to be honest.
and Dixie, now that you're here, because Cyrus and I were talking about this on our last episode and kind of extensively after. And maybe you can weigh in, Yang, as well as Dixie, of like we're kind of with some of these sets, and especially by established keycap designers such as yourself, we're kind of past interest check, and we're more into like what Osiris nicknamed the hype check.
Mm-hmm.
So like what do you think about like some sets don't really need interest check because it's like, okay, well, this is going to sell amazingly.
Yeah, it's true. You know it's going to sell. And also another aspect of the interest check that is almost lost for like people that have run sets a lot is just like feedback. For 9009, because we did a new kit format, we did change quite a few things after like feedback. We added the full ISO support, and we changed some things about the obscure kit and such. But there are a lot of group buys that are just, here's the kit design. I'm more than likely not going to change it unless it's like a big error. So yeah, then the interest check indeed just turns into people saying, I'm ready for this.
Hype check.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and also you have the piece that's happening a lot, especially on people who've designed sets before, where they already have the vendor figured
Mhm.
out. They already know, oh, it's going to be with Dixie. Oh, it's going to be with Novel Keys prior to even it releasing on ECAC as an interest check.
I mean, the quality of interest checks in general has gone up so much.
It's
I
a little bit of both though. It's like you've got some where it's just like the lowest
Yeah,
effort,
of
and then you've
course.
got the super
Here's
high
some
tier.
keycap renders. Thoughts?
But I remember like the days where not even a KBLE render, because that thing hadn't come out yet, but just like a KBLE screenshot was
Yep.
the standard thing to do. So yeah. And now pretty much everyone has like a cool story about it, or at least like the top whatever percent of interest checks do.
Mm. Yeah, and you have, I think Discord's really helped a lot because you can kind of go into a
Mhm.
more private community and basically do your interest check
Yep.
via Discord with some people and just go, hey, I want to make sure that the set's like this and stuff like this. And there's, um, I'm sure you won't mind too much that I talk about, but Drifting Bunnies, GMK, he sent me, I'm sure of some as well, lots of screenshots and lots of stuff before he finalized his group buy. I'm just
Mhm.
asking questions and making sure. So before he went into interest check. And so that's just one of those things that I think Discord really has changed the way that, moving from interest check into hype check is kind of becoming the norm almost.
And also just the market growth in general, of course. Because with 9009 round 2, it hitting 500 was insane. Like only a few sets had done that. And now most of these sets like running on, I mean, literally every set that Dixie ran this year hit over 1000 base kits.
Jeez.
So yeah, the growth is just insane.
It's almost like Dixie's doing something right.
Yeah.
Well,
You'd think so.
we were talking about this earlier. With Dixie has great marketing, and I think Novel Keys does as well. I think we were talking about how Dixie does a good job of being a face in the community as well,
Mhm.
not being so far back from everything that it really helps put a face to the name, kind of,
Yep.
and you really appreciate the work that he puts in. Some vendors don't have that. I think that's why sometimes you'll see sets not do as well as they could or should.
Yeah. I find that interesting because with the market growth, we're like going from a phase where indeed you know just everyone in the community, and a vendor just means maybe he has his garage cleared up for some boxes, to like to like businesses that handle like thousands of orders. So it's like a fine line between indeed like handling a big business but still staying part of the community, I guess. And like you said, some vendors just do that better than others.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And so we all know you and Dixie have a fantastic workplace relationship.
For sure.
How did that come about? Like, how did that start?
So we were both in a, I think, semi-private Slack for like a slide bar. I don't know if you remember it, but it was really hyped up on RMK for like a couple of days. It was pretty much a slider you could put above your keyboard and could use as like volume control or make it move like a typewriter or whatever. And the guy made like a private Slack, and I think I joined because I just got into like Fusion and cat design at that point, and Dixie probably joined because he was a graphic designer. And for some reason we just started chatting, and then he was already selling stickers, I think, at that point. So when I had that idea of 9009, I was just like, you want to run this? And it was sure. And that's how that started. So yeah, it's a very right time, right place thing.
It's kind of crazy how it worked out because it's like that was like
Yeah.
the first thing that you ran, correct?
Yep.
And it was like I know when we had him on, he said that was the first big, that was kind of his big break as well.
Mhm.
So
I don't think
it's
we
cool
did
to
any
see.
key sets before that, right?
Not that I can think of.
It's
So
definitely cool to see how it kind of started, and that the relationship is still there and
Yep.
is as strong as ever.
Yeah, that's weird to think about. Because, like, say I never had that idea, or even I never clicked that YouTube video that got me into mechanical keyboards, how different, like, so much would be. So, yeah.
but moving to, I guess, what probably a lot of people would be interested in hearing about, Dolch Light, modern Dolch
Modern.
Light.
Yes,
So,
gotta get the name right.
talk about that. How did that come about?
Well, it's
Oh, sorry. I
we
have one final question. Why did you
yes.
copy Olivia? because it's just a
On-
straight copy of GMK Olivia.
On which set? Because every set looks like Olivia.
Exactly. Modern Dolce Light is actually
Yes.
Olivia Terminal. Actually, it's
Yeah.
Olivia
I
plus
just
plus.
I downloaded it. I downloaded the Olivia renders from like Imgur and just photoshopped them a bit.
Just adjusted some sliders.
Yeah. But so yeah, it came about pretty much as you would imagine for the name. Just a lighter version of Modern Dolce. I think Dixie Mac actually had like the original idea, and we figured it looked really nice. So the idea, we had it quite a while ago, I think, probably at least 2-3 months ago at this point. But we just recently started working on it, getting the interest check out, and that spawned a lot of discussion about the name. So yeah, I will say, like I say in the interest check, it's not a Dolce set. I get that, Dixie Mac gets that. The name is a bit weird, but it is derived from Modern Dolce. So, and we didn't figure people would care this much about the name. I guess in retrospect we could have chosen something different, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely get people's, Dolce is such a classic
Yeah.
thing in the community, so people have like an attachment to that name. But like you said, it's a rendition of modern Dolce. It's not a rendition of Dolce itself.
No, definitely not. Yes.
And I think people will kind of have their panties in a wad for the next couple weeks, but then it'll run and it'll do really well. It's a beautiful set. I think
Thank you.
what I think Muted wanted to be and made it better. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, a lot of people made a comparison with Muted because, of course, the sets are pretty close. But I do also agree. I personally think, again, I'm biased, but I personally think this looks better because Muted is quite high contrast with like CR, the black, which is a very, very black. Whereas this is just a bit easier on the eyes. And also, it doesn't have the purse caps lock. Sorry, Chewy.
You took out Alt GR, so
Yep.
and the box. Because that set had 3 of the 4 caps, or 2 of the 3 caps that I hate the most, which is Alt GR, Return, Enter. Sorry about minimal, and the box caps lock. And
Wait,
so
how
and
did
that
it
had
have return enter? It was icon mod.
no. Those are my 3 that I hate the most.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it didn't. It had Muted, had Alt GR, and box caps lock. So this takes there is no bad key in this set for me. I like the purse.
If you buy 150, I'll make you a purse kit.
Oh, done. Start that donation goal. I'll run a private group buy. It'll only be step 2. But no, I'm looking at it right now, and yeah, it's just clean. And yeah, you're right. It's softer. It's definitely not as harsh. And it just has a cooler theme to it. And I love what you chose with the accents, where they're different from you. It's like you look at this and go, oh, this definitely has similarities with Modern Dolce, but that's different. It's pink and seafoam green. So like, and I have, it's actually just right over there, but I have the grayscale, which is very similar with the seafoam green accents. So when I saw this, I was like, cool, G&K version of it. Nice.
That still has purple, right? Grayscale?
That's what?
Grayscale still has like a purple accent as well, right?
Mhm.
Or does it not?
I don't know.
It does. It's an option. There's like 4 different accent options that you can purchase for grayscale. But I think a lot of people, there was kind of like a meme picture where people were like, "Oh, it's just the same as Muted," and it's like, if you really look at it, and I think once people get it, they will see the contrast, because the changing of the alpha color from a black to a lighter gray, or well, to it's a dark gray, but it's significantly lighter than the black.
Yep.
Is easier on the eyes. is more. It is in itself more muted, which is funny.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it definitely feels for like 90%. It feels the same market as muted, but I still don't think it's not the same set. It's not as if we just straight out copied it or whatever. So yeah.
Oh, it's such a pretty set.
Um,
Like, and this is another set that's going to look good on everything.
yeah, for sure.
It's going to look good on just about every single board. Like,
I personally definitely like it most on like the dark silver boards that match the modifiers a bit,
mhm.
or on the space gray of the JO2.
Yeah. What was I just thoughts on we ever gonna get like a accent color Alice short space bars maybe?
Wait, we have short space bars for the Alice in the obscure kit.
Well, but with the accented colors.
Oh, yeah, no, probably not happening. It's just
I
there
can
are
dream.
so many spacebar options at that size,
Yeah.
and there are two accent colors. So then you add what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 keys to it. So it makes it quite a bit more expensive.
Mhm. No, absolutely. Completely understand. I like my accent space bars.
Yeah.
So I got really because for the OSA, the Alice layout board,
Mhm.
I got kind of just lucky that nines ran GMK nines and the space keys had the U9 cream
Mhm.
color, and I was like, oh sweet, I'll pick that up and have like an accent key for this weird layout that not a lot of sets like camping has red accent keys, but outside of that, I can't think of too many sets that run those. So I was just curious. I know it does add a lot of keys,
Yeah.
so
And it's just such a small user base. Like not a lot of people have an Alice type layout, and not a lot of those people want to even use accent spacebars. So yeah.
yeah. So
S-
there's dozens of us.
So one thing that we haven't touched on that some people might know you for, but not necessarily realize it, is the renders that you do.
hmm
How did you get started in the render game?
Um, well, I got into Fusion 360, like the piece of software, through that video I said earlier. And I'm not sure. I guess the first render I did was for DSA Frost. I think I just found some files online and literally just changed the colors, and that was it. But that got me started. And I just kept growing, and then at one point I started offering renders to the community as a service. So I think I don't know. I've probably rendered like 100 key sets at this point. But yeah, I did recently actually stop accepting render submissions from people. It just ended up taking up so much time. And in the past, I could kind of control the demand with raising the price, but I just felt like I couldn't raise it that much more. Because yeah, for like I don't feel bad charging a vendor a bit more, but when it's like someone, I don't know, a 17-year-old guy making an interest check, they'll probably fail, and paying me like a couple $100 if he wants like
Mm.
20 renders, that would make me feel bad. So yeah. And now I just have more time to focus on group buy projects.
And as someone that does renders, what is your
hmm
opinion on keycaprenders.com?
That's Pingu's site, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it's nice. Um, it at first I was like, because it launched back when I was still doing renders, I was like, this is probably going to take away quite a bit of business if he makes it really good. But in the end, it was the opposite because people just started spamming interest checks and wanting nicer renders after that. I don't know. We have kind of seen like an evolution, I guess, of like free renders. It went from the KBLE screenshot to like the KBLE free render, and now this. And it's always quite a bit better. So who knows?
I've noticed with the keycap renders.com, everything always comes out looking metallic, and every
Yep.
time I see it, every time I've put something through, I'm always like, man, I just wanted like an actual like proper
Plastic material.
yeah, proper lighting, plastic material render that doesn't, because it makes it hard to see colors correctly. So
Although I actually tested it. It's quite a specific one, but I tested it with Modern Dolge and it came out quite well. So I'm not sure. But yeah, and they also always have like weird stripes on the spacebar and such.
Mhm. So, one thing we do ask usually our keycap guests, keycap heavy guests, with you've kind of answered with some because you've done sets where you've got one that's very similar to another one. You've got one that you didn't take, but you
Mm-hmm.
looked at one set and said, I can improve this. And it's not a set that someone designed. It was a set that was made many, many years ago with Dolce. So how is it kind of designing? We live in a kind of a dibs society right now with with keycap renders, like we said, kind of blowing the doors open for people kind of making whatever key set. How is it designing key sets in this kind of new climate that we are in?
Yeah, I mean, um, I don't know, like about the whole copyright thing or whatever. I think it's really hard because legally, I think everyone agrees that you pretty much never have anything to stand on. But on the other hand, I do definitely think that like someone owns Nautilus or whatever. I would never support someone running Nautilus all of a sudden. I think it's about more than just the colors, but I guess the added value to the set. Uh, so it's if someone just made an interest check and just used some colors in a free render, it's not the same as someone putting in a lot of time and making the novelties and whatever for it. So yeah, but it is quite weird, and I don't know how it will change because if like bigger companies come up making their own keycaps, I mean we've already seen it happen with Vortex, right? They are using a carbon colorway for their keyboard, and they're quite a large company. So I'm not sure how it will evolve and what the take of the community on it will be, because we definitely got looser on it in a way, just because there's only so many colorways you can really do that look good, I guess. So
Mhm.
you almost have to, because otherwise there will never be a lot of new colorways and everything will just be reruns if you're super uptight about it. So yeah.
and I think we've kind of seen over the past couple months people being a little bit more lax
Mm-hmm.
with different things, like understanding like that colorway doesn't make a set. Uh,
Yeah.
there's a lot of other stuff that gets put into the set, so it can be close, but it can be just a little bit different.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that's some. I mean, what you said with like the sets I did, indeed, like all of them are either like vintage or vintage inspired or very. But it's just like I said before, it's just my taste. I just can't really force something else. It's like the same when I design boards. All of my boards come out pretty like curvy, and sometimes I wanted to design a more angry gamer aesthetic, I guess. Not really, but just more rectangular board, and I just couldn't do it because in the end I always ended up making it rounded by accident, and I guess that's kind of the same thing with keycaps. But I do like designing cases in that way because my taste for cases aren't as boring as they are for keycaps. Not as bland, I guess. I don't know. So I can do more creatively with that.
And that kind of brings us to another one. We know you had your hand in designing, bringing the modern M0110 to life.
Yes.
What did you kind of play role did you play in that? I know your hands are kind of off of it at this point.
So
Pour it in. Salt on the
so
wound, bud.
so Desk Candy made like a post on Reddit, pretty much like an interest check, and it featured like not so great render, and I could see that the CAD work was very much not done. And I really liked the idea of having like a modern M0110 board, so I hit him up. And we ended up working together doing the CAD work, or at least I did the CAD work and the rendering, and he handled like manufacturing contacts and all that. And we started off with a factory in China, which the prototypes didn't go too well for that, and I'm super happy we didn't go with that factory, because actually, funny story, that board that I said I wanted for minimal and was cursed, I also requested a quote from them for that like over a year ago, and they replied to me like a month ago from now, saying like, oh sorry, we had a change in management, hopefully you'll still work with us. Literally over a year later they replied to me. But yeah, then we changed to a US manufacturer, thinking at the time that that would make quality control very easy, and that would mean there would be no delays, which sadly didn't really turn out to be true. So yeah, it's for my next board group buys, I'm definitely handling some things different. Uh, like some mistakes we just made without it also was just a different time, I guess. There weren't as many people to talk to that ran board group buys, and most of them that did also had issues. Like the ones I remember from that time were X60 and Mac 27 and such. So yeah, compared to now, like the next board I will run will be sold out of stock, so people will know exactly what they're getting.
Mhm.
I mean, it was a time too, like we were talking about it earlier. Even a brand as prestigious now as Rama, the M65A had
Mm-hmm.
plenty of issues with
Yep.
manufacturing. It
Yeah,
wasn't
that's
a success of it was a success, but it wasn't like flawless.
yep, for sure.
I
Yeah.
think people are more willing to forgive and forget once they get the final product, and the final product is good.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I know Rama had a few issues in some of their boards, but overall, a lot of people really liked them. So
Yep.
that's kind of one of those. Oh, they forgave and forgot, and I think it's easy to be mad at something, someone, when you don't have something. But if you get something that's perfect, like I'll throw in Modern Dolce. I was a little annoyed that it was a bit late, but once I got it, I was like, oh, I don't care anymore. It doesn't matter. Literally, it's in my hands, and this thing's amazing, and I can't wait to throw it on a board. Like,
Yeah.
it's this any doubt, anything is immediately just out the second you. So patience.
Yeah. And like the kind of annoying thing with M0110 is as well, it was designed in probably 2017, and a lot of things like keyboard design wise were very different back then. There wasn't that much of a philosophy around like how you should do the plate, where the mounting point should be, and all that. Because if I designed it today, I would do a lot of things very differently. And it's, I mean, it's kind of annoying that people would now get their boards, and I know that I could have made a better design of it,
Mhm.
even though it's shipping now. So yeah.
That's actually an interesting thought process of, if a board takes 7 months,
Yep.
is it
Cannot
out of
be.
date?
Yep.
Is a board that is running right now going to be out of date in 6 months?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it'll be as bad now, because people are really like thinking about design philosophy around it to the point of like very much overthinking it. Like keyboard design is pretty much like pseudoscience at this point. So yeah, and that wasn't very much the case back then.
And it's crazy because it's not like we're talking about a significant period of time. It's only been
No.
Year and a
a
half.
year and a
Yeah.
half since
What even really started that? I guess Keycold had quite a big play.
I
I think
always like to say we gotta thank our boys Krelbit and Heinebush
Yes,
for the meme. The
Yes.
meme. It brought on the gaskets. It made it. I mean, obviously Keycolt was doing it, but it was a very hush. It was a more of a hush hush thing at that
Mm-hmm.
time. Keycolt wasn't to the brand recognition level that it is now.
Sure.
And the meme kind of came on the scene and was just like, "What up? We're doing gaskets, and it's a 65%. And this is different."
Yeah. Yeah, and that board also had like quite a bit of manufacturing issues.
Just
I
a
feel
few.
like we're just now at the point that a lot of people know what to look for in factories in China or whatever, or they just know which factories do good work, and you don't need to go randomly on some site looking for CNC places, because it very much is a Russian roulette at that point. You really don't know what you're going to get.
Absolutely. Well, and I think also that has a piece of that is our community size. Like the
Hmm.
overall group buys being larger makes it easier to go to manufacturers and be like, listen, I'm going to sell this many. Not being worried about, am I going to sell 15 or am I going to sell 100? And
Although keyboard group buys really haven't scaled as much as key sets. I mean, key sets went from 300 on average to over 1000 on average, where keyboards are still very limited. Like a lot of them are still like 50 or 100 piece runs,
Mhm.
which I guess makes sense because you can just send GMK money and they'll do everything for you and it will be packed nicely. And you don't need to open a single thing of like keycap trays to check if everything is there. And compared to keyboards, that definitely isn't the case.
Yeah. Although you do have stuff like the what's it called? Just Polaris,
Yes.
where
Yeah, I'm
that's
pretty
kind of the outlier because they're the only company right now that can successfully
hmm
run that big of a production, and they can't even run that big of a production. They
No,
even said like, "Yep, this is gonna take
this is it.
forever." Like they were already sweating, and I mean, if you just look at the KBD8X, KBD8X is still not 100% done. As they've got some done,
hmm
but for the most part, it's not finished. So
Didn't the
they have their own issues with these open group buys, and it stinks that it is that way because at some point people are going to start running out of boards to put caps on,
yeah,
and then the bubble
but
will pop.
didn't the Think 6.5 also sell an insane amount?
Yeah.
it
I
did.
don't remember what it was, but it was a lot.
And the thing I think mentioned that keyboard group buy sales haven't caught up with the keycaps. I think a lot of
Hmm.
that has to do with the fact that the vendors aren't letting it because they know how hard
Yeah.
it is. Like
Yeah.
we've only really seen a couple like full truly open
Mhm.
buys. Everything's been limited to, 100 units, 50 units, 200 units.
Yeah. And yeah, a lot of people seem to think that is just for like artificial scarcity because it makes the vendors more money. But I can wholeheartedly say that that's quite a stupid argument because you got to think about Keycult, right? They had their victory auction for the number one, and they released the data, and there were what I think over 150 people that entered for it and were willing to pay more than $1,000. So they could easily make so much more money, but like you said, it's hard to do.
Well, and when you want to release something, your name on it. Like
Yeah.
if you can sell 800 boards for $1,000 a piece, but if they all turn out bad, or even if 50 of them turn out bad, that's going to look terrible for you. You know,
Hmm.
if you sell 800 boards and you get one or two that are kind of rough, then that's one of those things. And as a company, you could plan for that. Okay, well, have extras to replace whatever we need.
Yep.
But you look at, I forgot to say Rama. Rama is kind of the poster child of being able to handle these large open orders for a long time. And I think once you kind of, the Polaris was very inexpensive
Hmm.
at less than $300. You're able to get an entire setup of a gasket mount board, where Rama is kind of like at the $400 to $500 range.
Yeah.
You'll definitely get those first 150, 200 orders, and then I'm sure it comes to a grinding halt after that number, because you start weeding out the people that are like, I'm happy with my tofu, or I'm happy with my Polaris, or I'm happy with my $200 to $300 board. I don't see the need in going for that. So
Hmm.
I do think that will slowly weed out those people, but still, that's just a
Yeah.
tall
I
order.
I think a big difference between like if someone chooses between the Polaris or say a Rama M60 is the Polaris is very much like a purchase of technical specifications or whatever. Like, yeah, it has gasket mount and it has a good price and it's from this vendor, whereas Rama is much more an emotional purchase in a way. They do their marketing so well, and it has really become like a brand name. So yeah, people are willing to pay more for that.
And as the community gets bigger,
Yep.
the more people.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a cycle too, because Rama just brings in a lot of new people because they're so good at the marketing, at yeah, just looking at like their Instagram numbers as an example. But I think them and Nathan Thea Types have brought in a lot of new people into the hobby.
Absolutely. I think the other piece of the reason why Raw handle those big numbers is it's a team. It's not like
Yes.
Dixie Mech is just Dixie and it's help from his wife as well. It's kind of the two of them. Still run out of his house, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Novel Keys hasn't really done boards. They had the NK65, but they haven't. They're the only one here that's got a sizable team. Other
Yeah, I was about to say they have, but it's not the same thing, right? It's like the Kira they sold on Kickstarter or whatever. It's very much the same thing as like the Polaris. It's not a very exciting product, I guess, in the same way. But yeah, Rama is extremely professional in every aspect. Like if you buy a board, you know it'll be quality. You know the box that will be packing it will be really nice. You know the software will work well. Yeah.
so and then Shota IRL asks, "What about?" That's also a team. That's probably
Yes.
I would think of all of the vendors that is the largest team.
Yeah,
Probably,
hands
yeah.
down.
I really can't think about how many orders they even handle. Because, yeah.
Like we had someone in our Discord be, I think the 50,000th
Really?
Novel Keys order. That was just
Yeah,
Novel
right.
Keys, and I can't, and I can imagine KBD fans
KBD fans is
has
even more. Because
10
Novel Keys, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like Novel Keys is very US centered, like
Yeah.
his percentage of orders, whereas KBD fans is just the entire world. So, yes. And yeah, also every video you see of like building a $500 keyboard, wow, it's always like KBD fans Tina or Tofu or whatever. So they get a lot of hype in that way.
And Shota, it we're just having, due to Janglad being across the world, we're really pushing the American servers to the test. So that's why you might see some stuttering. So.
Oh wow, yes, I'm watching the stream right now. That's really bad.
Is it?
Yeah, when I moved and there's so much compression on my
The
part.
audio's fine though. That's what.
Yeah, okay, for sure.
As long as the audio's good, you can just kind of post yourself up in a nice power pose.
Interesting. Yeah, because I'm looking at mine and it's not showing any dropped frames. So
Okay.
So
I imagine it's just Discord where it's hard to get the fact that we live in a time where we can video feed across the world it's beautiful. So,
but yeah, if anyone has questions, Janglad, what is the technical way you should say your name?
I guess Janglad is good. I don't know. I just always hear it pronounced in English when I hear it because it's not like I go by it in everyday life. So when I see my name on a screen somewhere, I just read it as Janglad because everyone says it that way. I don't know. I guess there's no proper way. A lot of EU people just have weird names like Zambomon or Oblotsky.
Drifting Bunny says, have you switched to using RAL colors making key set?
Yes, Modern Dolce Light does use RAL colors.
No metallic chips this time.
No metallic chips, no.
Never again, huh? Never again.
Although I guess it uses one Pantone color, the legend color from Modern Dolge,
Okay.
Yeah, but that's
a
You've
legacy
already
one.
you've
Yeah.
already used it.
Yeah.
So do you feel limited with RAL?
I don't think so. I mean, it's not like we need to pick such a wide range of colors, I guess. And for this set, Dixie actually picked the colors. But yeah, I don't think you feel very limited with Rock. Pantone definitely has a lot more options, but they typically don't have as small increments as Rail does. So Pantones has like more different colors, more vibrant ones, whatever, but you can't fine tune them as much as Rail. And they're also really not labeled in any normal way. Whereas Rail, you just have like the codes and it just the numbers just go up as you go through the book, which is nice.
Mhm.
It is, yeah, it is definitely very nice when we're out to have it
Mm-hmm.
make sense increment. It's not just like Pantone book, just like
Yeah. I
all
feel
over
like
the
if you use
place.
it enough, you can just imagine the color by seeing it. Because you just know that 60 is like whatever, somewhere in the blue range. And yeah.
And then, so this is the best pleb, but it's actually Mykonos. What is your favorite set current interest check?
It's hard. I'm going to scroll through interest checks again. I guess Olivia plus plus. I mean, it's a very easy answer because everyone likes Olivia. But yeah, I think I would say that there's not really a set I'm following that much right now. Not that I can think of. So yeah, it definitely wasn't an interest check that was put together very well. Although it was only a couple of lines, it was fun to see people search for it, for like the hidden code.
Mhm. Let's see. Well, other than that, I think we can move on to our final two. Olivia plus plus definitely is a hype check. I think
Yes.
most round twos are hype checks.
I don't
Yeah.
even think it's hype check. I think like
It's just like announcement.
Yeah.
Olivia plus plus could have not had an announcement, gone
Oh yeah, for
live,
sure.
and just blown everything else out of the water.
They could go live and not even make an Instagram post about it, and still, yeah.
I mean, I think we were looking at the group buys for December. Olivia is going live, and it's like, and no one wants to run in December because Olivia's there.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's kind of like what I think. Who was it? LZ.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of these boards, kind of like we talked about how TGR and Kiko, they could literally say, "Hey, we have an idea for a board. We're
Yeah,
not
like
going to
the
tell you."
LCMP. Yeah.
Yeah, LZMP. We're not going to tell you, but $800, and people would buy
Yep.
it. Every spot would fill up.
Yeah.
So,
For
because
sure.
at the end of the day, you have the greatest trade bait in the world.
Yeah.
That's somebody, at least.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting part of it because people love to hate, and understandably so, on like high Mac market prices. But in a way, it also benefits people because it pushes people, I guess, to it gives them some security when they join a group buy because you just know you can sell it for what you paid for it or probably
Yeah.
more. Because King Nasty once told me he's also very active in the Chinese market, and the aftermarket value for GMK sets there was lower than the group buy price. So a lot of people just went like, yeah, why would I even join this group buy if I can get it for cheaper later? And group buys kind of imploded there.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't think a $99 base kit would be possible. I don't know. It's hard to say how many of the sales come from like FOMO or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, or people like buying multiples to try to flip. It's like had a couple different sets where they like what was it, Striker? It was a $99 base kit, came out instantly selling for like $200 on Mac.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure, but someone told me that Modern Dolch Spacebar kits are actually going for well over $100 now.
Yep. I
Which,
got
yeah,
offered. Someone offered me. There's like
Really?
$120, and I was like, I mean, no, but because I like them.
I still have like 5 left. I should just flip them. Don't PM me. I'm not going to sell them.
um, yeah, that's. I mean, like the Olivia, the extras kit.
Yeah.
That was one that sold for just a bunch. I mean, because I even, after talking to a lot of people in the community, like obviously, yeah, try and get your money back. That's the goal there is to maybe
Mhm.
try and get your money back. But um, I just had the chance to get muted out, which muted is an easy. I could have easily gotten actually sold it for, but it's just one of those things where I was like, maybe
Yeah.
maybe don't be a complete tool and sell
Yeah,
it
not
for
even
what
sure.
what it's worth, and like because I've seen muted go up for $350.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I was like,
I would assume it was higher because I don't.
yeah, and then
Modern.
that was 350 without kits, and
Oh,
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I can't do that. I'm gonna at least make the money I spent on it,
Mhm.
but so I shouldn't be holding on to this 5 Moto Space Markets in my office.
Probably
Not
not.
at all.
Racing Giraffe asks, what set do you think is overrated?
Shit, that's a hard question.
It's a loaded question, huh?
Yeah, I'm
Get
not
get ready
sure.
to shots fired, somebody.
Uh, hmm. I guess GMK Laser or something like that. One of the very like mainstream popular ones. I don't really like him, just because my taste in key sets is in general so boring. So most of the colorful ones I don't like. Yeah, a laser. I mean, it
But that's
gets
a
very.
colorful set.
It is a very colorful set. Yes.
And I think that's actually funny because that's a set that when it first shipped
Mm-hmm.
was the aftermarket price was insane.
High? I
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't remember.
it
Oh
was
yeah. Okay.
super high
People wanted it.
because they also had the different alpha kits, so
Mm-hmm.
people were paying lots and lots of money
Oh yeah.
for the different outfits as well. But now it's really cooled off. I feel like we are in a little bit of a time where people aren't necessarily into that kind of aesthetic,
Yes.
super saturated colors. People to even a set called the Vaporwave set is less saturated
Yeah.
than laser.
A laser. Yeah. And yeah, you're right. You see a lot more of like grayscale sets or monochrome ones.
Mhm.
Like you almost didn't really have that. I guess you had like N9 with random colors, but even stuff like Firefly, I guess it also has like a consistent cap color. So yeah, definitely. I guess the look matured a bit. It looks less playful, less colorful.
So, what do you think about the white alpha trend?
Is there a white alpha trend?
I guess it's just we've talked about the kind of the safe color
Oh yeah,
options to
yeah, yeah.
keep your alphas white, and that helps keep it more that can be what people are used to. It's avoiding straying too far out of the realm of what people are used to.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I mean, it's. I guess it is an easy option. Yeah, but it just looks good a lot of the time, and you can't change things just to change them. I guess
mhm.
I don't know. I didn't really personally notice a white alpha trend.
It's one of those things I think dive more into different alphas, maybe a little bit creams, a little bit more gray colors. Like I don't think it's necessarily a problem. It's not.
No, most of the time, my opinion is just if people will buy it, then the set is worth running, you know?
Mhm.
Because if it really sucks or is ugly or whatever, people will just not buy it.
Mhm. Yeah, I think a set that can really help push the non-white alpha keys is Mizu. Mizu did a great job with those alphas, and if those, I think when that set gets shipped, people are going to be like, "Oh, I can't believe I didn't get it on Mizu,"
Yeah.
because of how awesome that those alphas look. I'm excited for Terra. I think that's probably my biggest hype set right now. Just because those alphas look fantastic, and I think they're going to look great in person. So,
For sure.
but
Oh. I think we might roll into our final two questions, which I'm definitely
Alright.
interested to hear.
yeah, the next one is going to be tough.
The last question. But before that, we'll get into the heavy hitter. What is your favorite and least favorite thing about the keyboard community right now?
Favorite is, I guess, yeah, just the people. There's a lot of like people, and most, I mean, like designers and such. It's really cool to talk with them and like exchange ideas and whatever. Least favorite, I'm going to say people who take naming schemes too seriously.
Dolch Light, guys. It's going to be awesome.
That's a good answer for the current times we are in.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
So,
honestly, it is a little bit ridiculous that people are getting as
Yeah.
frustrated and upset as they are about 5-letter word
Just name.
being in the name.
Yeah. I mean, there was like a guy saying we did it just as like a cheap marketing sellout trick because people would buy it for the name Modern Dolch. And I don't know, I don't feel like people would just buy something for a name on a key set. So yeah.
also, like, you're the one that ran Modern Dolch. So, like, if somebody else called something Modern Dolch Light, but it had nothing to do with you, then yeah, that's kind of like
Mhm.
I'm trying to sell this name. But if you're just like, I made Modern Dolch and now I made this lighter version of Modern Dolch.
Well,
Like,
and it's not like it's a situation where Dolch is like a readily available set that you can just
yeah.
grab somewhere, and it's not like I could understand it if Dolch was still being manufactured
Oh
and
yeah.
but then because then that would make sense. But like Skymoto, very true, Dixie. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, dude, Sky Dolch, what's
But yeah,
that?
I think it's just ridiculous. People are getting way too upset about something that doesn't really matter. It's about the set. It's about, does the set look good? Is it going to fit on the boards? You want to have it on your keyboards. It's at the end of the day,
Yeah.
that name is gonna be on a band roll that's gonna be in your closet that you're never gonna
exactly.
see. Or if you're Chewy, you're just gonna give it away to someone.
Yeah, just throw it out. I will. I had a hard. I think I actually gave my box because it was a nice marble print. I enjoyed the Modern Dolce look, but I wound up like giving that to someone who doesn't even have the set. I was like, "Here you go, bud." I was like, "Cause these are going straight into a Ziploc bag." So, anyway, last question. I don't know if you watch any of these because these are American-based shows. But what is your favorite show between The Office and Parks and Recreation?
I have never seen a complete episode of either. I have
That's
seen
what we were looking for.
I I think I have seen like some parts of Parks and Recreation, like the Ron Swanson, his name is, right? Yeah, those parts, but I never watched a complete episode of either.
This is the
So
first
can't really say.
time where we've had a I don't watch those where I'm like not like what are you doing with your life because I'm like you don't live in America so I can totally
Yeah.
understand never seeing them.
It's not rolling in syndication over.
And I feel like none of those shows really came over here in the same way that say like Friends did.
Yeah.
So
But well, Janglad, thank you. Thank you for staying up, man.
yes,
Definitely like
I'm
that.
going to fall right down as soon as as
I
soon as I close my
definitely
computer.
I definitely appreciate that. Guys, if you did, we are going to be posting this tomorrow on YouTube on our channel. You guys go check that out. But thank you very much. Like definitely appreciate it. More than you know. We glad that we were able. I know I'm very excited for Martin Ultralight. I know Osiris probably is. I might have you beat on my excitement, maybe. I don't know.
Probably.
um but granted, I've supported everything you've done thus far, so might
Yes.
as well. But yeah, thank you. And anything, if you want to plug anything,
Yeah, go buy Dracula.
Dracula, there it is.
Needs to hit 2000 MOQ.
2000
2000
MOQ. Wow.
MOQ. MOQ.
I'm not even joking. It's going to hit 2000. I just know it.
That is literally the most insane first week that I have ever seen.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
hit what GMK sets hit last year in the first
Yes.
weekend. It's insane.
Yep. And I mean, props to the guy that made it, because the presentation on it is just, it's pretty much flawless. Yeah. The interest check, the renders that he did, like the poster stuff that he made. Yeah, it was very well put together.
It's proof that if you, and I think this can be said for a lot of the sets Dixie has ran this year. If you put a lot of work in
Yep.
the overall product, not just the set itself, but the overall product, and you present it as a product, it pays off.
Because I feel like if he only had like one render or two renders and he posted it, there would just be like maybe 3 replies saying, Oblivion just ran, we don't want this, it's too close to Oblivion, whatever, and the project would get dropped. But indeed, he put in so much work and presented it so well that it has its own little place next to Oblivion and whatever.
Mm-hmm. So, well, speaking of Dracula, you can go to mexondeck.dixiemeg.com to go get Dracula. Use our promo code, helps us continue the stream, helps us out a bunch. So definitely go check that out. He also just got some, I don't know if they're sold out already, but he just got like the Teja bags and the keycap or the switch opener. Yeah. So yeah, go check that stuff out.
Go to switchmod.net/mexondeck to get 4% off lube, as well as he's actually running GMK Alter in, I believe.
That's actually a set I forgot about. I think it's really nice.
It is. It's like it's a fresh take on like a red dark set.
And I really like colors that shift between a dark gray and like a deep navy. Like 8008 also kind of had that, and I really like that in that set as well. And I think it's quite unique, although I think it will do pretty well.
That one starts up on November 1st, so keep your eyes peeled for Alter, switchmod/mexondeck.
Yeah, and then last but not least, Zap. Zap cables. You can go get some of the best made cables in the business. He can either make them for you or you can try your hand out at it. We have a showing just showing how to make it, and hopefully you didn't have as hard of a time as we did. So yeah, just be sure to check that out. He's also got some other cool stuff like desk mats and some really cool stickers, and yeah, definitely go check him out. We'll be talking about this, but 24-hour stream, November 23rd through November 24th. So for those people in the EU that are watching because they did not stay up like Janglad did, we'll be streaming for 24 hours. So hopefully we can see some of you, some of y'all in our chat while we stream at a time that is available for you. So I know Osiris is working a lot on getting the technical stuff down.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. Got some really cool stuff planned. We're gonna do some cool things. join our Discord if there's any ideas. If there's anything you want to see from us, just let us know and we'll see if we can happen for you. It's going to be a good time. So again, Janglad, thank you so much for staying up in the wee hours of the morning to hang out and talk with us.
Thanks for having me.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, we're gonna raid I am me, you are you, as is tradition. But this is your bi-weekly by a Switch tester. So thank you guys. And we will see you. Oh, Dallas meetup. Duh.
Oh.
Dallas meetup. We'll be there.
We'll be there. Come hang out.
We'll be there. Come say hello. So thank you. Bye, Switch tester.